Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Everything You Love. I'm Rob Arnold. With me today,
Lieutenant
Mr. Mark Hunter.
Frank Drebin Police Squad.
That's right. Singer of Chimaira.
And
High
Fear
Point,
Factory.
Skip Line, Fear Factory. What else? Submission, Pillow, High Point, did I say that? The Demonic Knights of Abarash. A man who needs no introduction, except for the lengthy one I just provided you with.
Lengthy.
Singer, songwriter, guitar player, Mr. Mark Hunter. How are you, Mark?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for being here. If you guys remember, on the last episode, Mark joined me for that one. He brought over his ESP RZK that we set up and restrung. And in that episode, we talked about his 8-string and promised you guys that we'd be back to set that up. And so to hold that promise, here we are. Brought over his SC608B and forgot that he had mentioned this. We're also going to be throwing some new pickups in it. So
possibly, yeah. If that's not already those, who knows?
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
that's just a spare. We'll have to find out.
Pickups for guitar and bass? That's weird, but these are the 808X. I don't know. Well, we'll take a look. We'll examine and see what happens there. But that could be cool.
Good.
And the last one, we just kind of let it flow and just talk turkey and stuff. But this time, I've collected a bunch of great questions, some aimed at Mark, some aimed directly at me, some for the both of us, from my awesome Patreon community. There's a ton of them, so hope to get to them all, and let's get right into them.
All right.
Ready, Mark? Did I forewarn you with this? Did I tell you that I was going to be, that I got some questions or not?
Nah.
Sorry about that.
That's fine.
Okay, well, you don't like any heads up on that stuff anyways. In the past, I've tried to say, hey, do you want to know what these questions are? He's like, no, he always just likes to wing it, and I respect that. You about to say something?
No.
Okay, first one here, from the Midwest Slaunch Mob. This is for both of you. I have grown up watching you guys play here in Chicago. Do you have any cool tour stories that you could specifically remember from Chicago? Didn't somebody stab somebody in Chicago back in the day? Much love, Matt.
First thing that comes to mind is getting our scrims stolen, and which is a great segue to talk about Pass Out of Existence.
Ah, there you go. Explain what scrims are. That's actually the very first thing that came into my mind too, the scrims. Getting our scrims stolen. But yeah, just tell everybody what those are first.
Yeah, scrims are basically, if you don't know, they're the little banners that you can put on the side of the stage. You know, sometimes there's a backdrop, has the band's name, and then scrims sometimes are little square boxes you might see that, not boxes, but like, they look little banners that are in the shape of a square. And our artwork was, we were very excited. A new band, Pass Out of Existence. We're touring, and part of our tour support budget, we bought scrims, backdrop, all the stuff you might want to have as a support act and or a headliner, right? You know, Kiss, Gene Simmons, Marketing 101, man, you need a backdrop.
Yeah, but sometimes when you're opening for bigger bands, you can't put up a backdrop, whether they won't let you, or there's not time, or it just can't happen. So a quick fix for that is to get these scrims and you can just throw in front of your amps. We'd get we had frames, our own frames, you know, and so the text would just load. Yeah, remember those? Oh, who's gonna grab the frames? You know, load those up on stage, put your banners up there. It's just a quick, easy way to have something on there. So yeah, I remember. Yeah. You know, the crew was loading out at night and somebody's like, where are the scrims? And so they've never shown up like on the black market or anything like that. But what's somebody doing with those? I bet somebody just took them as something to take, had no idea who we were or anything. You know?
Either that or lost if they weren't stolen, they were lost and then tossed, you know?
Lost and tossed.
But yeah, just first fun experience. Like Chicago's always been a great city to us.
Yep.
But we'll never not associate it with getting our scrims stolen, because that's like one of the first things that ever happened there. And I, of course, associated right across. That was at the Metro, and then of course they have the great hot dogs right across the street from the Metro. Yeah. So that would be the second thing I associate with.
People would always bring us good pizza. Yeah, good food.
Yeah.
Good food in Chicago.
Yeah. The deep dish. I'm a fan.
I always think of too the live Deicide concert we used to listen to, that CD where
Chicago.
Yeah, Handles would always say that. So yeah, Chicago was fun.
Yeah, I always like playing there, but yeah, I wonder whatever happened to those scrims.
I don't know. If anybody has them or know about their whereabouts, well, you can keep them, but it'd be interesting to know. If somebody has them, I hope they're in a good home and not in a landfill.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Efren Valadares. Mark, who played all the instruments on Notes Don't Matter Nothing? How did you guys come up with the idea? Jim's reaction on the Resurrection DVD was really fun to watch.
Who played it? Well, I feel like, I know 100% you did the whistling.
I forgot that there is whistling.
You did a whistle solo.
Okay.
Sukoff did all of the vocals that sound like kind of like Chris Cornell-ish and very like bluesy and big sounding vocals by harmonies. Basically, he did all those. I did the main vocals. I don't know who played the riff. I want to say the song, if I'm remembering correctly, is so generic it had to be me on the acoustic, and then it would have been, if there's drums, Andel's, right? Yeah.
I would say Andel's, yeah.
If there's drums, I can't remember off the top of my head. Like, it's been a second since I haven't heard it in about 8 or 9 months. But
and I'd play it here, but I don't know if that's one of the ones that could get me demonetized. You know,
shouldn't be.
You don't think?
No, we wrote that one. Like,
well, we wrote all our songs, but
I mean, that's not on anything officially. No,
that's what. I mean, if it's on something officially, Roadrunner or any of our labels know about it. Let me just show something here to you guys. If you could see here, Mark's got the ghetto tape holding these on because somehow they broke off, and
during the show.
So he says during the show, and whatever one of our techs, I guess you have to do what you have to do on the fly, but they didn't consider this, that they're covering up the string holes here. So now I have to remove this to get the strings out.
Yeah, on the fly, something went wrong, and like Christmas show or reunion show, and I believe, I don't know why else it'd be like that.
Okay. Better than I expected. I was expecting years of gaff tape residue on there, you know. But
yeah. Luckily, it's indecent. Yeah, hasn't really been fucked with. So, but what were we talking about?
Notes don't matter.
Notes don't matter nothing. But his reaction, he was very upset. It seems like for a long time. I don't think he really appreciated the humor, you know, but...
And just, we'll give a tiny bit of backstory on that. What does that mean, notes don't matter nothing? It's because there's two, like, famous Jim sayings that I think of from way back in the day. Like, we'd be jamming, this is way early on. He had just joined the band, and he was stoked to be coming to the first few practices, and, like, you know, he wanted to show his effort by, you know, stay a little late, and let's go back and make all the Present Darkness songs sound super tight.
Yeah,
you know,
tight.
We'd laugh about that all the time, super tight. And then you know, during a song, I'd stop it. Hold on, everybody. Jim, how many times do we have to go over that? It's 2, 3, 5, not 2, 4, 6. Dude, notes don't matter nothing, okay? As long as the rhythm's there. You know.
Right. I'm just there to create like a low end sound.
Yeah.
You know, no one's paying attention. You can hear it clash. But yeah, so that was these were his words. You know, the lyrics. They weren't my lyrics. Right. These are his words that he would say most of the time anyway.
So it's notes.
Or there were you know, just observations of Jim, like, you know, he wears Arch Enemy camo shorts and his shoes are powder blue. Yeah. You know, we were just looking at him that day. That's what he was wearing. I mean, they're just facts. He wears Arch Enemy camo shirts and his shoes are powder blue.
Right.
So it's I don't know why he was upset about it. I mean, perhaps it was too much of a mirror at the time and that he was not willing to look at, or perhaps he was like, hey, these guys are a bunch of fucking assholes. They should be making music. And instead they're spending all their time this entire day in the studio making fun of me. Why? Because.
That sounds, he goes, glad we're spending money on this shit. Yeah,
that was good. I'm glad that we spend money on that stuff, you know? The fucking best melody we've ever had.
Because, I mean, every moment in the studio is expensive.
Yeah, that was probably like a, you know, in the hindsight, that was probably like a $3,000 song.
Yeah. And years later, though, look, dudes are still talking about it.
It's a hit.
It's a hit. That's right.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I finally remember kind of just sitting there in Sukoff's studio, and it might have been just strumming along. You know how sometimes you just get caught on a riff or whatever, and then all of a sudden you start singing along to it. It's just nonsensical, and that's probably what came out. Like, we should probably record this. This is good. And boom, it happened.
Nice.
Did you just lick that?
So there's a story. Yeah. Oh. You don't know that trick?
I do, but
I did in the last video too, and got a lot of comments on it. A lot of people didn't know that.
I just don't enjoy doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just how you tell. This battery's still totally good. So the fact that you're not getting something out of that bridge pickup, I actually should have tried to test it at first, like through an amp, but the fact that you're not feeling that you're getting anything from that pickup
That's
could
maybe
be
why
a
I
problem
have that pickup.
because the battery's good. Unless, yeah, I'll open this up too and look and see what the electronics look like just in case there's anything that looks wrong. All right, while I'm doing that, Mr. Ryan, this question is for both of you. How did it feel to be on Farm Club? And after doing Farm Club, how much longer was it before Matt from Ascension came into the band to replace Jason Hagar? Hope all is well with both of you.
Hey, Matt would have probably been anywhere from like 8 months to a year from that taping, I would assume.
Did Hagar tell us during the... Hagar left the band, for anybody who doesn't know, because the birth of his girl got pregnant at the time, and he just made one of the toughest decisions you could make, and that was to leave your band to, go raise your son, which is commendable, obviously, and everything, but it was a super tough decision for him. But did he tell us that while we were recording Pass Out?
No, I feel like we were on tour.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I'm not 100% sure though. Obviously this is a long time ago. We're talking 20 years by this point, but usually when those kind of events happen, in my position, right, I'm like, oh man, I can't take a moment to be like, hey dude, congratulations. Wow, that's big news. I bet you're gonna be excited. It's more like, oh fuck, we gotta get another guitarist.
Right.
Like that's the first thing you could probably start thinking of. Like what are we gonna do in that situation? So I don't remember like that. I think that part, the details of it are gone because I think my brain would have defaulted to like, oh, we have to solve this. This is a problem we have to solve.
Mm-hmm.
But no one was upset or mad. It was just more like, oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, see you later.
It was a shock. I mean,
Yeah.
we had done so much to get to that point. We had just gotten a record deal. We just got signed to Roadrunner, all
Yes,
this.
everything. And then he's just like, all right, I'm out. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, he and you had said, let's do this for real. Let's get signed. And so yeah, for him to have to give that up like that. But it's cool now. Just in the past week, I see pictures of him and his son, has graduated from high school,
Right.
is all grown up.
It's
and so
amazing.
It's amazing, all that. So.
Yeah, it's such a bizarre thing to look back on because, Hagar and I start the band and we accomplish all the things we set out to from the start rather. And then when, he has to depart, what happened?
Sorry, go ahead. They are the same pickup.
They are.
It's an EMG 808X. Hold that thought. So this is an EMG 808X.
Mm-hmm.
This is also an EMG 808X 808. I mean, we could just swap them out so they're brand new.
Yeah, so maybe that's why, because maybe that pickup itself something's wrong with it or something.
All right. Well, so
Maybe
do you want me to? You want me to put these new ones in?
Sure.
Or do you want to sell these on the black market? Because one thing is, I could put the strings on and test it out like this, and if there's a problem, then that means taking the strings all back off again just to switch these out.
Here's what I can tell you right now. Every time it's on this, if that's this, it's not working. It's just a dead quiet pickup. It's as if there's no distortion activated. If I go to like here, there's some distortion.
Okay.
And then here it sounds like, your typical bridge pickup.
That'd be the neck position.
Or neck pickup,
Yeah,
sorry.
unfortunately, I can't determine that really without...
I would just assume something's, perhaps jacked with it or.
You got
working.
these?
So
Let's
we got
just
throw
swap them
out,
in. All right.
I'll sell the used ones on the black market guys.
Right. Okay. All right. A great segue into Farm Club.
Yeah, Farm Club. Oh, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. So just what the experience was like.
Oh man, what an experience that was. Getting the call, I remember. It's like, wait, what? We're gonna be on there? Remember, we were hoping to be on there. There was like the voting.
Oh. So we got like voted on, right?
Yes and no. We were supposed to be voted on, but we kind of had some insider, help on that one. Martin Jacobs. But yeah.
Dude, this pickup. First of all, is it only one? It is only one. So, anyways, but there's a bunch of spare parts. We'll put this in, but this is crazy. Look. Where did you get these pickups?
Handed to me, I think, on the bus from someone at EMG.
All right. Well, it's just this is just absolutely ironic that I know I won't be able to zoom in enough to see this, but this was manufactured on May 27th of 2010. This brand new one here was manufactured on the exact same day, and according to the serial number, it's one after this one.
Huh.
So it was made directly after this
The day after my birthday.
Wow. Well, hopefully this is the money one. We'll see.
All right. Interesting.
You never know what you're gonna find when you open up a guitar.
Yeah, right?
It don't matter nothing. Yeah, for me, I mean, Farm Club was incredible. Didn't know what to expect. Didn't know what it was when we got the call. Just, hey, we're going out to California to do this TV show thing, whatever. All right, sounds cool. But I mean, it was our first real taste of like kind of like rock stardom in a sense, you know, like having a badass dressing room and catering and being around, you know, who was all there? Incubus, No Doubt, you know, Method Man, Redman, Green Day was around, right? Minus, you know. Yeah, so it was just super cool being in LA, driving golf carts around the like, you know, the studio areas of like where were we? Hollywood Studios or something like that, or Universal.
Universal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that was incredible. The just the whole experience, but it was also nerve-wracking when the whole performance thing came on, because we were studio audience was a bit awkward. They did let some fans in, which was pretty sweet, but we were also not like. It's kind of like pre-internet, so you can't like alert like thousands of people or anything. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to figure out ways to tell our fans, not pre-internet, but like, you know, what it is now, social media. We could tell some people on our message boards, and we might have lucked out that they logged on that day and saw it.
Right.
But yeah, we had some fans there, but for a lot of it, it's a paid audience, and that's not because they need it for us. It's just paid audience for the show.
Right.
So while we're, trying to play this heavy stuff and we have all the go-go dancers, as a front man, it's like, oh, this is just awkward, especially like a young, inexperienced, nervous one at that. And TV cameras are nerve-wracking. Then like we start playing and like it was like 5 or 6 takes before we started rolling because like shit just kept happening. I remember one time Jim jumped up and the fucking wireless pack like flew off him. Mm-hmm. There were like problems with the mic not working and just having to kept start over and over again.
Yeah, that was nerve-wracking. I was definitely nervous.
And another thing people don't get to see is we actually played the bridge of Severed from the end after the end of Dead Inside. From the bridge of we went from the bridge of end of Dead Inside into the bridge of Severed, all the way through the outro of Severed. And we're on stage like digga digga dun, you know, going crazy. And they cut out that whole like segment, which was God knows how long we made that Dead Inside that, and they caught on to it, but we were trying to like sneak on 2 songs essentially.
Right.
And pull part of Severed in there.
Yeah, but good times and certainly helped launch a lot for us.
Still talked about to this day.
We're talking about it on this day.
I know.
All right. Next up. Oh, this is the from Todd Irish. Hey, Mark, do cowboys' butts still in fact drive you nuts?
I don't like that question.
No one knows what it means except you.
I don't even know what it means.
Right? Oh, you don't?
No.
Oh, that's why you don't like it. Okay.
I don't even know what it means.
I don't know. Todd, sorry, man. You're going to have to elaborate.
Yeah, you come back to my channel. Bigger donation next time.
Has he been gone for a while? Or something?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, a couple of those guys, man. I mean, they put in the time. I see them all on your streams. Comment on every post of everything, you know.
Yep.
So
diehards.
Good guys. Diehards. Great fans. Great friends. Thank you. All right. So that question went awry.
Sorry, Todd. I don't know what the hell it means, man.
Olivier, another good guy here. We Chimaira fans all know the legend of Metal Moses and how he separates the sea. I feel this is a moment everyone in the crowd pretty much expects. From above at Chimaira Christmas 15, perched in an opera box, it gave us all chills. How does that feel for you guys on stage at that moment? Any anecdotes related to this? Cheers.
It's just anything like with getting a crowd to do something that in unison is exhilarating. And of course, getting a Wall of Death versus fists pumping, there's going to be even more of an exhilaration. So, but I really didn't see that stuff in the metal world. So I thought it'd be cool to bring it in, and we did it at one of our hometown shows. And after that is actually there was like a local magazine here called Scene Magazine, and every town has like the local trade magazine. It'll have, you know, little stories about their city or what's going on, concert listings, advertisements, 900 numbers for those massages that Jim goes to. But yeah, that's where they came out, and they were like, I split the crowd like a heavy metal Moses. It did like the part of the Red Sea, and I was like, man, that is a good title. I'm going to go with that.
Nice.
And it was born.
Yeah, I remember some huge ones in Europe.
Yeah.
And then everybody started doing it, and you kind of retired it. I didn't even remember that you did it at Come Here Christmas 15 again. So yeah, I mean, it's not like we came up with it, but nobody was really doing it regularly when we were. And then the next thing you know, everybody is.
Yeah, when you start seeing like hip hop and pop punk bands doing it, and you're just kind of like, man, I mean, it's cool. On one hand, you know, to see it go that far from like the underground of the hardcore scene to like, and know that you were like a part of that stepping stone, that's pretty cool. But then on the other hand, when you're someone that's doing it, like it doesn't feel as special because people are used to it, if that makes sense. Where at one point it was special. It's no longer, it lost its luster.
Right.
And then people start getting hurt, and then you're like, we're doing, you know, festivals where like, yeah, the band needs insurance. Insurance for what? Well, in case someone gets hurt in the crowd, and like, wait a minute, oh man, I'm responsible for that? Like, why is that my fault if somebody falls fucking down?
Yeah, that's something that most people don't know. We got to a point where we started having to buy insurance for shows and festivals, which is a huge pain in the ass because you get your budgets together. You know, okay, this is what's coming in, this is what's coming out, and everything like that. Oh yeah, and on top of that, you need just a $30,000 premium for to have festival insurance over the summer, or else you're not on the tour. Ugh, great.
Yeah, in case somebody stubs their toe and feels like suing the band.
Right.
Like, fuck.
Fortunately, we never had to take advantage of that.
Yeah,
Not that I
yeah.
can remember.
No.
At least.
Luckily, nobody got hurt.
So, man, what we're putting on here is 80 through 9. That's crazy. I've never held an 80 gauge guitar string before. Bass strings, but it's just different. But one problem here is just this little eye hole here. You probably don't know what was on here before. Maybe you do, but I don't know. But this, it made it. Oh, good. There we go. All right. I've had to drill these out before.
Oh, shit.
It's probably not the proper way to do it.
Right.
But,
yeah, I just went on to the old Amazon and put in 8-string pack. So I don't know what the hell I bought.
All right. Let's see. Chris Hotchkiss. Mark, can you speak on another good one for, we mentioned something before. Can you speak on the history of High Point? Any chance of releasing those tracks? I also have the same question regarding the Demonic Knights of Abrash.
Wow, Chris. Well, I appreciate that you know that stuff. That's for sure. Pretty cool when people know stuff like that and underground side projects.
Yeah.
High Point came together with during the Impossibility of Reason writing sessions. We were all working hard making that album and constantly had our instruments in our hands and writing riffs, and I just kept writing riffs that just didn't work for Chimaira, and they were just way more like southern rock down almost, or Tool even. So I started just recording them and writing them down and saving them for another time. And then next thing you know, I'm like, well, hey, our buddies Ed and Drew were in a band called Second Half, and Ed and Drew were guys that I went to high school with that were also musicians, and they practiced right by us. So it's like, man, maybe we can all jam together and maybe work these songs out. And Jim wanted to do it as well, so it was just something that we did on the side because we were able to. We had the time, and we had the material, and I'd like to see them record the recordings get online. Jim and I started to do it at some point, maybe even 2 years ago now at this point, and it's one of those things where you're working on something and you have a million other things on your plate, something else comes up and you forget all about it, and I forgot all about it until right now. So there you go. So I'll see about putting that back on the menu here of
and that's
things
getting
I
the
can
High Point
do.
stuff up?
Yeah, get online. Yeah, even on SoundCloud or something for people to be able to hear it.
Or just YouTube.
Right. Yeah, I have to hunt it down, and I believe Jim has the songs, if any of us have them still.
I know I do somewhere.
Oh, you do?
I'm sure I have that CD somewhere, yeah.
Well, there you go. All I need are the songs. I don't know if I have them. Demonic Knights of Aberrash, however, a completely different situation. That's we were always in the studio, and Andos and I would just pick up the guitar and just write something ridiculous, and we'd spend like 2 minutes on it tops. I'm like, here's riff 1, here's riff 2, here's riff 3. All right, we go A B C. Okay, all right, and then like everything was so fast, so quick written, quickly tracked, and then we would put it into the hands of Ben and or Sukoff or Tony, who are producers that all have great falsetto, like classic heavy metal thrash voices. And we just would sing about knights and dragons and just have a laugh on the studio time. It's like, for me, like stuff like that breaks up the monotony, and it's something I've been doing since I was a kid. We'd always go into the studio and like make silly songs for some reason. Like we'd always try to do our real music, and they'd be like, oh, well, we still have like another hour on the, let's make a joke song.
Yeah.
And like, damn, because you're paying for it.
What all started with Satan's Wizard, right?
For Chimaira, for sure. It started with Satan's Wizard.
Okay, but you were doing it before that. Yeah.
Joke songs, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I gotta grab some super glue here. The problem, this nut is just, look at that. So it's just loose, and it needs to be super glued down, or else it's gonna have tuning issues all the time. And the proper way to do this would be to let it sit overnight. We'll see.
Hey, that's fine too. I don't need it. Oh.
Yeah, if I can get this, I'll get it glued and then clamped. I'll work on a couple. We'll sit. I won't do anything for 5 minutes because this stuff dries pretty quick. We'll just see what happens. If not, the worst that's gonna happen is it'll come loose again while I'm doing this, and then I'll say, all right, yeah, I gotta start over and have them sit overnight. So, had you finished talking about the High Point and the Demonic Knights of Aberrash?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, just the fun stuff, fun projects to do, and I wish I could have done, but with Impossibility of Reason got so busy, there was no way to finish High Point or spend even more than 2 minutes on it ever again, because we got so busy touring all the time, and then we had to make another album, and it was like, man, I don't want to put my energy into this, It's...
One thing that I remember, if you remember this, is Monty Connor, Roadrunner A&R guy. A lot of guys have seen him in our DVDs, and I just watched the Roadrunner All-Stars DVD the other day after Joey Jordanson passed and stuff, and all of a sudden those started showing up on my feed, and I watched that whole documentary. It's great. Just seeing Matt, he's just the same in other environments. I was just laughing. It was cool to see Andos. I had forgotten that was his like return to music. He wasn't in Chimaira anymore, but Rod Bloom called him to do that. But anyways, Monty Connor, and it made me think of Monty and just all the things he said over the years that I appreciate so much more now, because he's just right about all this stuff. But I remember him saying, either you had told me this, or Monty had told me this, or we were both on the phone with him or something, but when you told him about High Point, he was like, why would you do that now? He's like, you gotta wait. It's not worth doing it right now. Wait till the band's more popular and bigger and stuff like that. And at the time, guys like us, we don't want to hear that. You're just like, this is gonna be great and stuff. But in hindsight, he was right, it's still fun and everything like that, but it would have meant more maybe a little bit later, or perhaps gotten more attention, or because they're great tunes,
Sure.
Ed's a great singer, they were cool riffs. It was I remember it as like a stoner rock band. I haven't listened to it in years now, but they were good songs, so.
Yeah, Ed Gandalf was the vocalist on that, and yeah, he's one of the first people that, actually he is the first dude I heard play I heard him play Angel of Death, which was my favorite guitar riff as a kid, and I'm like, wait, somebody in my neighborhood could play that? So I really give Ed a lot of credit for like giving me a spark in my mind that like someone can play an instrument that's not just like, you know, some like god and or like, I didn't grasp like some kid down my street could play something of the gods.
In the Farm Club intro video, actually you're saying you're like, I first played this riff and it was dun 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 dun.
That was the first one I ever learned.
Dun,
yeah.
dun, dun, dun. So that Slayer riff, was that something that Ed showed you? Or
no, that's Raining Blood, but I had learned that from a different friend. But the first, like, I was coming home from the pool, High Point Pool, and I just remember hearing like it was in Jim's garage. I would have been walking home, and like his band was practicing. It had been Sacrifice, and they're just, you know, in between their songs, and you know how you just start playing riffs that you know, and I'm like, wait a minute. Someone knows how to play that Slayer song? And I was just like, what the fuck? And then I was introduced to Ed, because I knew Jim. I'd seen him in the neighborhood, and I was walking by, and then I was like, wow, these guys are in a band. Like, that opened my mind to the whole possibility of 1,000,001 things. So that's one of those like catalyst moments of that like bring you to this point in time. Definitely seeing him and hearing him play other dudes' music. So being in a band with him was cool.
Nice. Yeah, good guy, Mr. Gandalf. And also, you guys don't know who we're talking about here, but another high school friend, and a lot of you guys have heard me talk about how much the whole just Chimaira tree, all the roots from Strongsville High School, from Ben and Todd Bell, me, Andals, Mark, Jim, so many guys that work with us and have just helped Chimaira along the way. It's just really just a homegrown thing. Ed Gandalf is a part of that as well, and I don't think we actually tried him out, but he was a consideration to replace Jason Hagar before Matt DeVries. So was Todd Bell, as a matter of fact. We actually did talk to Todd Bell about it. Did we talk to Ted about it?
I don't know.
So yeah, this guy we're talking about here could have been in Chimaira, but I think we're all happy it was Mr. DeVries.
Sure.
All right, mechanization. Hey guys, when writing, practicing, recording, parts of a song will get stuck in my head, looping over and over, haunting me. Do you have any pro tips on how to purge an earworm? Are there any Chimaira songs parts you wrote that hearing or playing over and over made you sick of it?
There's no answer for that, man. I get earworms at the most inopportune times. It's usually when I'm sick or not feeling well, like I'll get just the worst song earworms. Like, why is this song in my head? And it'll play over and over and over. The thing that would get me at the studio was always click tracks. You know?
Yeah.
Just like over and over again. You hear it when it's off. You still hear it. That bothered me in the studio, and that you can't turn off. I don't know how you would ever turn off earworms except for listening to something completely different.
I suppose.
But yeah, I get earworms all the time, still to this day, and that's just, you're gonna have to deal with it.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I guess
deal with it.
What you said is right. You just got to listen to something else. Get something else in your head. You know, my mind is in iTunes just all day, like just all day of some different melodies, whether it's 80s songs or Nintendo songs or some melody from a commercial on TV, just over and over again and stuff, you know, and I've just come to accept it, I guess. But
mine are ridiculous songs I'm making up in my head all the time. Or, you know, I started singing one on, you know, made up on the stream the other day, like, I am laser dick. I am laser dick.
Yeah,
you know,
is
good
that on your
music.
stream?
Yeah,
it
just comes out.
So then you put a song together?
Yeah, I'll have to. Yeah, and then that'll be in my head, you know, and then it'll be in everyone in the stream's head, and then next thing you know, it'll be in the world's head.
What are a couple other ones?
These ridiculous songs we've made up on the stream.
There was one that was hilarious. I pointed out to you the last time you came over.
Is it Undercover Fire Truck, maybe? Or their Swinecock, the death metal one.
How does Undercover Fire Truck go?
Undercover Fire Truck, yeah.
Yeah.
Then there's maybe Sheila's and Blokes.
Sheila's and Blokes, that's it.
Yeah, that's the hit. That's the one.
See all this powder coming out?
Powder!
That's that tape. You know, if that was on the other side.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Residue.
You want to start it?
No thanks. Started enough for today. So I'm gonna kind of just get these going, but not tighten them for a little while. This bad nut. So yeah, earworms. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate part of the gig, man. It's like getting finger calluses, man. You just gotta earn it. You gotta earn them earworms.
And sometimes it's a good thing. Maybe it's telling you something. Maybe it's telling you it's trying to inspire you to write a riff or feel or something similar to it. Who knows?
And if it's just your own shit, then you know you got the good hook right there, or the good riff.
That's right.
Write 10 more just like it.
When somebody else is singing or humming your riffs, it must be a good riff. Must be catchy. People generally don't hum or sing shitty riffs. Parts.
Yeah, I guess that's true too. Although.
That's another Jim one, guys.
Yeah, although. Basically.
We love you, Jim.
We do, sometimes. Except when you call me. When people call me out of the blue, I think someone's dead.
Right.
Don't call me Jim.
All right. Rocco Marufo. If Chimaira could go on tour right now, which bands would you like to take with you, past or present?
What if I wanted to do an evening with for once? I'd have to go sit through all these goddamn bands.
Yeah, an evening with is where it's like Machine Head was just doing on their last tours, where it's just them, no openers and everything. I always thought that was a sweet idea.
Yeah.
You know, and nothing against openers, but you know,
yeah, I don't want them tiring out our damn crowd, man. You know, you guys are old enough as it is. It's like you can't sit through all these bands.
So let us know that in the comments right now. If Chimaira were to do a tour, would you prefer we had some opening bands? Because a lot of people like that too. Certainly, as we were growing up, that's how we got introduced to a lot of great bands. But you know, would you like that, or would you prefer just an evening with, where we played like, what would it be, 2.5 hours or something, or
6 hours?
6 hours. All right.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. But to answer the question, you know, like what are bands that'd be cool that tour with that we never got to, that'd be like we were always like listening to. I remember we wanted to tour with Decapitated. We always wanted to tour with Crowbar was another one thrown out. Morbid Angel would have been sweet.
We did shows with Morbid Angel.
Couple, yeah. Yeah, just bands we were influenced by and like that we listened to that were touring, but we could never like really get on a package with, so to speak. You know, they weren't, you know, on our festival or something, or unless we played them on a festival, rather.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously bands, I don't think this is what he meant when he says past or present. So I don't know. I mean, I always
like if there's a new band out, that's.
Well, I always wanted to do shows with Pantera. We never got to do that.
Sure,
it would have been amazing to play with Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
You know.
New bands, Animals as leaders, yeah, there's quite a few.
Yeah. A proper Metallica tour would have been the shit. Megadeth, for me at least, all those would have been great.
Green Jello,
yeah. All right, Mr. Anthony Maroney. Mark, Spooky Deadly, subscriber on Twitch here.
Oh, okay.
In the song Threnody, were the lyrics aimed at a certain individual? They're amazing. Also, did you happen to see Rob's video with the Jason Richard Music Man? And what did you think of it? That was his guitar, actually.
Oh, okay.
It was a Music Man, like 7th string. Yeah, JR7 from, I don't know, a few months ago. So, yeah, he's asking about Threnody, when the lyrics aimed at a certain individual.
Okay. To answer the second question first, I did not see the video, but I am familiar with Jason Richardson, and I think he's obviously quite phenomenal. The first question, here's where I Googled the lyrics for Threnody. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck song that is.
While you're looking for that, yeah,
I'm looking for it.
Rob, what did you think of the lyrics, and do you remember how to play the Threnody solo? No, I can't remember how it goes either. I should have done my homework and listened to it first, but yeah, look up the solo on there too.
God, man, this is so funny. I'm sure it was, but I don't recall. There was a point in time where I'm like, oh, I'll never forget anything. Like I always remember everything, and then it's like 20 years of on top of 20 years.
20 years of 20 years.
Like, I don't remember the song. I don't even know if we can how to hear it. I don't. where do you find the song?
It's gotta be on YouTube, right?
maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm not like familiar with how to find it. Let's see.
If you just Googled
Threnody,
it's
on there. It's on Spotify.
It would come up. Oh, Spotify.
I don't want to get you demonetized.
Sorry. Is it a self-titled B-side?
Self-titled B-side, I guess. But I feel like we wrote it during Impossibility.
Really?
I don't know. I'll have to go back and genuinely listen to that track because A, I didn't realize it was on Spotify, and B, I haven't heard it since we tracked it.
Anthony, more about your question. I often wondered as well, who's Mark aiming this at? Is it me? And then one day, Jim and I were having a conversation, and Jim said the same thing. He's like, "Dude, I think these lyrics are about me." And I'm like, "Really? I thought the same thing." So then that kind of like, we discovered that we don't have no idea.
So Monty Connor asked the same thing the other day about Power Trip.
Oh,
it's like, man, I remember you guys were like really mad when we didn't like your demos. I was like, well, here, man, it's more like not directed personally at you per se, but those feelings that of the label and the industry kind of just like we were fed up after Pass Out, and then we're like so proud of all these new songs. We put so much time and effort into recording. We thought we'd really made like a great stride towards something new with these new Impossibility demos, and we send them to them and they hated them, or it's almost, we're like, oh, why you guys changed your sound?
Yeah.
Like, oh, fuck, man. And then, so the feelings of, like, defeat turned into, like, fuck you. And that birthed songs like Power Trip and Pure Hatred because, you're feeling that way. And there's, like, that energy. The lyrics might not be personally at them, but the energy while performing the lyrics and even the energy while writing them, and there's no way but to say, but it's just like embracing you the entire time. So like a lot of times when lyrics are being written, it's like the moment of what's going on in the bigger picture. So yeah, there could be like a moment where Jim said something or you said something, or like the band is fighting in general or something, and it's like an overall like, this is that moment of, everyone's at their teeth, but it's silly to kind of like, this is very personally you. It's more like that person might have inspired it, versus like these lyrics. Because I always try to make the lyrics way more universal so that somebody in Croatia can relate to it. But if I were to say fuck Monty Connor, I don't know how relatable that is. Maybe, so.
Yeah.
I didn't really I felt that way for a few seconds, but it's not timeless like a lyric like fuck your Power Trip is.
Yeah. So Pass Out, which we talked about a little bit, and it's a lot of talk about it lately, and like this could be a good segue, like you had mentioned earlier, to talk about what's coming out with that and all that. But so the label wasn't really happy with Pass Out or its success, so we try harder with Impossibility. They don't like that at first. Oh man, are you serious? Well, what are we gonna do? So, but it's good. Again, Monty being kind of right.
Sure.
Try harder, and then that spawned the new versions of Power Trip and Pure Hatred, maybe Dehuman, right? So,
I remember Power Trip originally sucked. Like the very core skeleton of that song.
Remember, I told you that I actually found recently while I was looking for that other stuff. I found original versions of Pure Hatred and Power Trip.
Holy shit.
And you go, okay, well, there'll be a time to revisit those. I have them sitting over there somewhere.
Well, hey, you guys got that Impossibility vinyl, Pass Out vinyl happening. Maybe you can get an Impossibility one going. I think it's saved for that.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, Pass Out of Existence is coming out on vinyl, and you got to pre-order it right now. Isn't there a deadline?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be by the end of September there. So just before our, the anniversary, the 20th anniversary, it might even like deadline on that.
Okay, so there's about one more month. It's going to end at the end of September. Go to runoutgroovevinyl.com.
Yes, sir.
.edu?
No. Yeah, .edu.
I wanted to say that so bad in my promo thing just to make you guys laugh, but
.org.
Yeah, .org. Okay. So I think this is gonna hold. So I'll give it a find out right now. But this 80 is so big, it doesn't even want to fit in the nut slot there. So again, I'm doing some things here that aren't really the proper way. The proper way would be to get a new nut that could
Give me that,
better hold this. That's right. Nut. All right, back to the basics. All right. Independence guitar. Question for both of us. What routine did you guys have that got you guys on the path to being a touring band? For example, how many times a week did you practice? For how long before you guys started playing shows? What goals and deadlines, and how strict were you guys about keeping them? So what was the routine like early on that really carved out the path to get us going for shows and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of remember we treated it almost like, we tried to treat it like a job in a sense, or maybe we had a day job and then we were like, okay, everyone meet after work, maybe 5:30, 6 p.m. and we'd be able to practice till like 6, 9, 10, maybe top, or from 6 to 9 and 10 to 10. Maybe 4 or 5 days a week if we could. That's what I remember. We tried to make it consistent, try to be there as often as we could. Then we could take Saturdays if people weren't working. Sometimes, you'd have the opportunity to do like a 1 o'clock jam and everyone's there the whole afternoon or something. Remember we had a couple of those in the beginning, but then touring, I think it became completely different because we'd go out on tour and a lot of that is practice. And then once you're done touring, the last thing you want to do is like, all right, let's just jump right back into practice. So maybe you take a few weeks off and then you assemble to start practicing and rehearsing again for a tour, and then that becomes a strict schedule. We were I doesn't say we were strict, but we were just disciplined. Mm-hmm. That'd be a better word.
That, I think too, at least for me, and I think I can speak for most of the guys and say how you feel about this, is that we were in a position early on where everything was so exciting, the music felt so good that for me, I couldn't wait to get to practice every day. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, Yeah,
it wasn't a chore.
We were fortunate that we had a band of guys that felt like that, rather than other guys where there's 1 or 2 guys pulling all the weight or something, and other guys, I can't make the practice tonight because my girlfriend this, that, and everything like that. That kind of stuff.
That doesn't happen until later on in the band.
Yeah, right.
Like album 5, you're like, oh my God.
Because then a guy has some weight. You can't just give him the boot. At that point he's Andel's Herrick or something.
Right.
Or whatever,
man. So like practices in the later days were the worst, because and again, we're gonna be busting on Jim again, but it'd be like, all right, we're on the infection cycle. And then time literally starts to become money, because you don't have the luxury you are as a kid. You start to have responsibilities. You're older, blah, blah, blah. Some of us start getting children or dogs or houses or other jobs or things you need to be. And here we are. I'm like, dude, why am I sitting here watching Rob teach Jim Severed? Again. So we get like mad, and that would be like cause friction, because at that point, are we comfortable? Why are we even allowing that to happen? But that wasn't the way it was at the Christmas show. Like Jim was total opposite. He came in prepared, he played well, like a total different experience. But there were times where I just hated going to practice towards the end, and it was just, I think, so many combinations of shit, but like a lot of it was like I felt it to be tedious as the front man watching the band work their bits out. It's like, why am I here? So then that like starts to like that negative energy, then I piss all that all over you guys, which then makes everybody uncomfortable. So I think now we've figured that out, like, hey man, everyone do their homework first and then come in, and that's how I think, everything was much better for the reunion show.
Yeah.
Able to work out the kinks much quicker.
Right on, yeah. I agree. So we were just hard working. A lot of luck fell our way. People liked the music. And we were determined, and it just happened to work out.
Hard work. Man, we kissed a lot of ass, too.
You got to do it.
Got to.
Got to know what asses to kiss.
Whose?
All right, so her Franco, this looks like a long one here. First one for both of you. Watching the Dehumanizing Process and Resurrection DVDs, I realized some of your songs, songwriting, lyrics, song structures, and even guitar solo writing were done during the recording process. Why is that? Was it because of the scheduling imposed by the labels not giving you enough time to be 100% done with the writing before hitting the studio? Was it because listening to the recorded songs made you realize those versions didn't work, so you had to put extra work in to make them good enough? Or was it a way to put yourself under pressure during the recording process to help you reach your inspirational technical limits? And there's a second one for you, but
A and B.
Yeah. I think that we would try to, have the material at like 90%, because there is studio magic that happens, and we also would rely on Ben Schigel or whatever producer we were working at the time, and to take advantage of their gifts, whether it was melodically or in songwriting or whatever, or all those things. Ben, we knew he was going to have ideas once he hear the stuff and sink his teeth into the stuff, and so some of those things would leave open for interpretation. As far as the solos, and certainly with the lyrics, a lot of the time when it comes to crunch time, you're just not ready. You've spent so much time crafting the skeletons of the songs. Yeah. It's not, and Mark was always heavily involved in that as well. So, just to be able to sit there and write lyrics the whole time, and a lot of time too, I think for a vocalist, you want to hear. It's more inspirational to hear the song more developed and with a great recording to really, get inspired by it to write your lyrics. Not always, but so you just leave a little room for that.
No, absolutely. I think too, like with Pass Out, for example, we realized we needed extra songs. So we had to like come up with some shit out of, pull stuff out of our ass literally at the last minute because of mechanical royalties. We needed to have X amount of songs in the album. We didn't have enough. So sometimes you get weird situations like that force a song. But in the studio, you get inspired once things are under a microscope. You're hearing them differently. Obviously from a certain point of time, our demos started sounding better, but before that, we would write a lot of the stuff in the rehearsal space. So it's always loud and, it's jammed a certain way and you're hearing it reverberate off the walls and blah, blah, blah. And then it comes time to record it and maybe this just doesn't feel as good once it's under the microscope and the song isn't working. What's wrong with it? Maybe the song in general isn't working or a lot of times the vocals, you don't finish them because the song isn't 100% finished and you don't want to spend the time because you just inevitably know you're wasting your time. So you're like, I'm not even gonna bother because I bet you one of these key things is gonna get cut and it's gonna be my favorite part. So that's another reason. And then, but not pushing the self, like just pushing yourself comes, I think, with writing it. For me, I was always trying to like improve with each album. Like, man, I'm hoping that I'm improving, but and I'll notice certain things that are, like micro improvements that over time become macro. Yeah.
Yeah, good. I totally agree that hearing things under the microscope as well too, you realize things. Oh, he was actually playing this rhythm and I was playing this rhythm. That's going to clash. We didn't hear it with all the huge amps in the jam room and stuff like that. We need to redo this part or rethink it or stuff like that. Or, it's just certain things can happen. So you just leave a little room when it comes time for the studio, I think.
It is intentional and it isn't. Like in Infection, it was intentional. Like I wanted to have an experience of writing on the fly and being more in the moment than versus something like Self-Titled where I was completely prepared. And I could just go in and nail all my vocals in less than a week. So there's pros and cons to both methods. The pros of Infection is capturing spontaneity, has a lot of coolness about it. And then the cons are like, some days you're sitting there like, I can't think of a word that rhymes with the.
Yeah.
And just takes you an hour and a half, so that sucks. Yeah. And then like pros and cons of like the way I might have did with Self-Titled. Obviously the pros are you're spending less money and you're not wasting time. You look professional and prepared. You go in, you're just like, I know every fucking part, bam. There's something really cool about that. And then the cons of that are you kind of get, really sold to your part and it makes it harder to be open to interpretation. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, this is how I've heard it in my head for the past like 6 months. You know, it's gonna be hard to change my mind on that.
Yeah. Second one from Mark. I'm not a vocalist myself, but I do understand that being one in this music genre must be very stressful for your voice. After several years and records, I noticed an evolution with your vocals. Was it a natural evolution through the years, or did you have to learn techniques in order to preserve it?
Well, there's a little few things that go on. I'm glad you noticed that there's an evolution, not me devolving into horrificness. But anyway, your voice naturally changes every 7 years, so that's going to have an effect on how you sound over albums over time, which is interesting. You know, like Metallica, great example, man. How many different voices James has over the years. But the things that I learned to preserve them are more instinctive. And that is learned through natural performance and over time, and being able to afford the luxury of, hey man, we're on tour for 6 weeks. I know that after day 8, like, I can walk in and tell by the humidity of the venue that I'm gonna struggle tonight with my breath. And like, I'm gonna know how to change that.
Sure it wasn't some garlicky?
Yeah, right. Like, because it'll, like, the way you're sucking the air out of the room, like there's, you know, dead smoky room, for example, will affect how you perform that night. So those are the things that I learned, were the adaptation of environment.
There you go. Good tip.
And it's it's not something you can be taught. It's something you have to just go through over and over again. You're like, all right, big, loud, open, reverby room. Like, I know that I'm not going to hear myself. So through the monitors, I'm going to be able to hear better if I just let the room slap back to me. And by letting that happen, I can perform when I want. I don't have to scream as hard. And if I don't have to scream as hard, then I'm not going to put as much wear and tear on my voice. And versus, like, I might be in one of these tight clubs, there's no bounce back, I can't hear the monitors at all, so I'm struggling to hear my voice and I have to perform harder, and it hurts harder and shit like that. So those are the things you got to learn to adapt to.
Right on. Question, I had this written down here, which I'm assuming is from the Christmas show.
That's incorrect.
Yeah, it should be F sharp, I think. Or all these would change if this is supposed to be G. What's the lowest supposed to be?
It's F.
Just F.
F or E. Well, it could be sharp. So, here, let's get the tuning I want to do. I'll make it real simple for you.
Okay.
Drop F. Drop. Oh, interesting. I don't want to do that. Hold on.
It would make sense if it were E.
Yeah.
Because you want it in drop.
Yeah. You know, this should be E, A, D, G, B, E. This should be B. And then whatever here, it can be open to interpretation, whether I want to do power chords or drop.
That makes sense. Then if this were an E.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
But I was toying with the idea of doing everything like flat, you know, like the Metallica E flat tuning, and then that's, I think, what Meshuggah does, is everything's flat.
So is that what you want? Everything a half step lower than? So right now this for drop would be E.
Well, it would be, well, if I didn't do drop, it'd be F, yeah.
Correct? So right now this is how it's set up, E through E.
Correct.
You want it all a half step lower?
I don't know.
Well, it's just,
if you're already done with that tuning, then keep it at that and then do F, and we can just jam some Meshuggah riffs, and I'll be happy to go.
So you don't want this in drop?
Nah, I don't need it at low E right now. I just want the ability to be able to, that's all.
For it to be drop, it'd have to be F sharp.
Got it.
Wait, no. For it to be drop, it'd have to be E.
E, right. Mm-hmm.
But you don't want it drop, so it'd have to be F sharp.
Yeah, F sharp. Is that the pound?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So let's plug this in and see.
Yeah, it's a standard 9-string or 8-string tuning.
One of those picks, por favor.
It's just standard B, like like the old straight standard tuning of a 7-string, and then another string added.
So I'd hand it to you to jam on first, but and the tuning isn't absolutely perfect yet. I wanted to get it to a place where I could test this pickup first.
Yep.
See what you're saying.
And that's the new pickup.
Yeah. Interesting. So, nothing appears to be loose, but my first thought is that maybe the selector is bad in that position or something. And there is a brand new selector there, but that would be, I think there is one. No, there's not. No, new pots, new input. No new selector though. So I think what we're gonna do here is this is gonna be a soldering process here and some experimentation for me to try. So,
oh well, here we go. I guess it's another hour here.
Yeah, I think we got one more question here, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Actually, this is gonna be a long one. I could get started while this is going. I wanted to be able to have it nice and rip a chord during the thing, but I'll get the stuff to get that started. And we'll see what happens here. I'm just gonna go grab that stuff. Okay, so back with a soldering iron, and I'm gonna try something here. But while that's heating up, the last one here from Mr. Ivan Zemchanka. The question is about mental health. I understand that it is immensely hard to acknowledge your own mental health. I have watched the documentary you made describing the progress, and it's amazing. Down again. And my ex-wife had similar challenges, and she never got a hold of them during our relationship. We broke up. My question is, what were the early signs of struggling with mental health that you never acknowledged? Was it the early initial process of getting on track to be a better you? How are you feeling now? If you could speak to your younger self, what advice would you give about mental?
Well, thanks for watching that stuff, and that's obviously an important question. Everyone's different with this situation, and there are different types of mental health issues that one could have. Personally, for me, it's a good way to describe it is like energy. You know, if you're like, you ever had way too much caffeine before, and you feel like you're crawling out of your skin. That's a good way to describe when I'm having an episode. It's like you've had 6 venti Starbucks in a row. You're like, yes, let's go. Your mind doesn't want to shut off. So identifying that is something took a long time. I just thought it's like a body thing. I don't know how to describe what's going on in my body. I didn't know that that's mental health, having energy. And that's a part of it. There's weird symptoms that you don't even realize that you just think you're over caffeinated, and actually caffeine can spiral your mental health out of control. So it's weird shit like that.
Probably any substance of any kind that's
substances,
mind-altering.
Dopamine, yeah. Even heavy metal, right? Heavy metal increases your dopamine. You're driving and listening to it really loud. Next thing you know, you're 25 over the speed limit. I mean, that it's not mental health per se, but that's chemicals, right? And your body is a whole bunch of chemicals. So identifying your non-traditional symptoms would be the best thing that I did. I guess learning that what triggers me, not triggers, but like, oh man, I saw a meme on Facebook and it made me mad. More or less like I didn't sleep much and I know that that's probably going to have a bearing on my mood. So the only difference between maybe me and the average person is when something has a bearing on my mood, it's amplified.
If you could speak to your younger self, what advice would you give about staying mentally healthy?
A younger advice would be good to say. I think a lot of us go inward, and I started to go outward more as I aged, and I utilize my inwards, inner thoughts into music and things like that. So I wouldn't change that, but talking to friends and or people in general, it was more of an inward thing. But we're also in a different time though now than we were back in the day, where it's a little more acceptable to talk about these things. Back in our day in the 90s and stuff, like, being depressed meant like, depressed now means, like 4 or 5 days out of week, you're extremely tired and lethargic and you don't have much interest in things, where depressed in the 90s meant you were probably cutting yourself up all over the place and hanging from a fucking noose or something, So it's a completely different mentality of what depression is today now, comparatively speaking.
Still exists.
It's just,
but there's a lot more information, a lot more
yeah,
talk about it, and
exactly.
a lot more groups out there to.
Yeah, somebody with a mental health issue in the 90s, you're like, oh, that's.
Lock them up.
Yeah, lock them up. That guy's fucked up, right? And now mental health, it could mean you have a problem concentrating.
Right.
So it depends on the severity of what type of mental health you're talking about.
So that did not work.
Made it sound better. Now it's a nice acoustic guitar.
Okay, so the other thing I was thinking was...
Toss it. Throw it away.
Yeah, I'm going to have to sit with it to figure it out.
Well, there's no rush on that's for sure. I have not touched it in a year. I don't plan on touching it unless it's ready to be touched. So...
Okay, well, so sorry guys, we're not going to be able to jam this one out here at the end, as we run into a electronics issue that I'm going to have to look at. So anyways, I'm sure it's going to sound great, but there's one more thing I've been said here that's pretty cool. It says, seen you guys in Dubai. It was epic. You should take a tourist trip around here and see the local musicians and gigs. We did get a chance to go around a little bit and stuff like that, dip their feet in the Persian Gulf, that's that, right? Mm-hmm. Went in the, I forget what it's called, but the tallest building, but it was crazy while we were there too. It was, that was 09 maybe, but still it was like a kind of a ghost town. 80% of the world's cranes there, I'd heard, but none of them were moving. There wasn't really a lot going on. I think it's a totally different scene now, but
sure. One
thing's for sure, it was a great time. The show was incredible. And certainly had no idea that we could travel to the Middle East. And
it was definitely a big thing, and I talked to a couple people from Dubai on my stream, Unmuted Show. Shout out to him. He's a host from over there that does a weekly podcast type thing and has guests on, and a big supporter of our channel. And
cool.
So
plug your channel one more time real quick here for everybody. Where can they find it, and what's your schedule?
Twitch TV, Chimaira_Mark, and I'm on Monday through Friday in the morning, and most Wednesdays and Thursdays. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. Nights, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock. Be there. Check it out. They're just rapping out. He's singing songs.
I rap
Chimaira
too.
songs. He's rapping. Taking requests for all sorts of different songs.
Options.
All
the time.
It's everything you love, including options, in the Twitch version and from Mark's mind.
There you go.
So, and I've been on there before, and he's graced my show here a million times. We appreciate you coming by again.
Definitely.
I'll get this all fixed up for you in the end, because in the end, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
Right? So, any last words?
Yeah, fuck all y'all.
All right.
Switch.
There you have it. Appreciate everybody watching. Come back and see me again. Go back and watch all the prior episodes if you haven't seen them already. Get caught up. Lots to absorb, lots of cool stories, fun facts, all that, you know. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one.
Take it easy.